Welcome to another edition of Pittsburgh Sports Line. We're up in council chambers here, so it's a little discombobulating for me. I'm Al Levine, the talking machine. I got Smoking Jim Frazier. Chip Hayner's not here, he's on transit. And we got our guy out of the bullpen, John Smith.
Yes.
So if it looks like I'm not looking at the right camera, they told me to look to my right. So I don't know how that looks on air. If somebody gives me a thumbs up, that'd be great, and I'll continue to do that. We're here to talk sports. Thanks for watching us on Comcast 7. Thanks for the thumbs up, Devin. Appreciate it. And Tessa. Comcast 7, only in Bethel Park, as you know. It's an honor to be up here. We finally made it. Smoking Jim and John, we're in the big time. You can't get a bigger room or better room right in the municipal building. And thanks for watching us on Verizon 32 everywhere, including Bethel Park, all the way from Nemacolin to Cranberry and Wexford, the city of Pittsburgh. We appreciate it. And then I want to tell you guys, I'm very proud. Jim Audet, this goes out to you. We hit a new high of likes on our Facebook page, 5,105. So thank you very much, everybody.
Yeah.
We're expanding there. And I usually have some promos, and I wanted to try to do it. I don't know if you guys can pull up close on it, if I should let Tessa see it or the camera where I'm looking at. What would pull up on that? Because I want to promote some community things that are good, like 6 free weeks of training at the Energy Innovation Center. That used to be the old Conley Building Trade School, and it was redone, and they put a lot of money there, and they have a lot of great ways that you can get jobs. So if you're over 21, you have a driver's license or in the process of getting one, you can go to this program 8:30 to 4 each day, and guess what? It's free. Won't cost you anything. So if you know people that are looking for jobs, Smoking Jim. I mean, not you, but you know a lot of people in the community,
yes, sir,
and they're
yes,
over 21, men, women, they can all do these jobs. So check that out. Then our pizza sponsor, where's all my literature here? We moved all the way upstairs, and I don't have a pizzeria one. This can't be happening. Olive Oil's Pizzeria. We just had a great pizza. We also had the Italian hoagie, which is wonderful.
It was fantastic.
And I'm looking for my flyer. We cannot find it. How could I not have an Olive Oil's flyer? Somebody needs the help here. Nope. Well, here we do have a flyer. We can promote ourselves. Tessa, we're going to test you on this one. This is our flyer for Atria's on February 8th, and we'll be there on the 22nd. And guess what? After 2 weeks of negotiations, we now have something called the Smoking Jim. What is it? Mound?
Smoking Jim's round mound of pot roast nachos.
There you go.
There it is.
There you go. See that? And did you pull up on there, Tessa? One last shot for that. We got it. Thank you very much. And Olive Oil's Pizzeria, give them a call. Tell them I got to get another flyer. I must have handed those out because people were asking where's it located. Call 412-831-1900. I saw Frank, the owner, right before I left and got my pizza. And he said to say hello. He goes, even though I'm up from Upper St. Clair, you guys do a great job in Bethel Park. So he's very happy with our promo and our sponsorship. So we appreciate that. Now, we always start our beginning of the show with what's on your mind. We're going to continue that, even though we're up here and we can't even tell if we're talking or see ourselves anymore, but somehow Devin gave a thumbs up and Tessa did too. And thanks for being our volunteer to help on the cameras there. Devin's very relaxed now, so I appreciate that. Normally he's much more tense. And we're going to start with What's on Your Mind with John Smith.
Great. Thank you, Alan. Well, of course, just like many of your viewers, the Super Bowl is on my mind. And I was extremely impressed with both games. I've got to tell you, Cam Newton has stepped into the forefront and is certainly a most valuable player. But I'll also state, as a football guy and a football coach, I'm convinced that defense wins games, especially in these championships. And I've never seen a more aggressive, I'll take that back. That Steeler group with Joe Green and his own.
You mean in the 70s?
In the 70s. That was a dominating defense. And I've got to tell you, the Denver Broncos are such a dominating force. And it'll be interesting to see the game and to see how the Bronco defense tries to defend Cam Newton. So anyway, that's what's on my mind right now. I'm also excited about the game this weekend in Hawaii, the Pro Bowl, and it'll be interesting to see the great players of our National Football League.
We'll get into that a little bit later once we get this What's on Your Mind done.
Yeah.
He's new. He's like a rookie, and he's out of the bullpen. So as the head coach here, I'll give him a little guidance there.
All right, great.
Yeah,
thanks.
We're here to pick you up. Everybody looks good on this show, and we'll get you in your segments. And I also want to introduce him. He's into a lot of things with anti-bullying, and we're going to get into that in a segment later on the show that I created for him. So
there you go.
We'll get that going for you too, because we need that in this day and age more than ever.
You bet.
All right.
You bet. Thank you, Alan.
You're welcome. And thank you for your What's on Your Mind. Appreciate it. Smoking Jim Frazier, what's on your mind?
Thanks, Al Levine, the talking machine. And if you want the green,
there it is.
You got to see Levine. Back to my old option quarterback days in high school.
Okay.
But
it's nice being next to you. We haven't done that in 3 years when I used to sit next to you, remember?
Yeah, rubbing elbows together over at level 20, and now nobody gave me the memo that you're wearing green. You know, Devin's wearing green and Tessa's wearing green. But what's on my mind is the Pittsburgh Sports Line.
I like it, it rhymes. Yeah. Even though mine isn't supposed to. Oh, more green for me. Tessa.
That's it.
All right, Tessa.
So what's on my mind is the Pittsburgh Sports Line Player of the Week, and I won't be long, Coach.
No. Take your time. Brief. Take your time.
But the Player of the Week has to go to Good Karma, Alderdice's James Jackson. He had 34 points over the weekend, and he is on our show. He committed to playing football, but he's been doing so great in basketball since he's been on our show. When he came to our show, he had 0 basketball Division I offers. Now he's up to 5 Division I offers, so he's kind of hedging his bet now. He may go Division I basketball. I got to talk to his mama to find out. She told me football, but maybe things changed.
Well, he told us football.
He told us football, but he's recently said in the paper that now that he got some Division I basketball offers, he may go basketball.
I got to do a disclaimer, Smoking Jim. Mm-hmm. This is what happens when you come on Pittsburgh Sports Line. You need some talent, you need some skills, but like we said, it will take you to another level. So if you're listening in Bethel Park, I got an open invitation to any of the teams to come to our on location. I'll discuss that later on.
And finally, as I wrap up, the Pittsburgh Sports Line Team of the Week has to also go to the Alderdice Dragons. They went down and played in the Peachtree tournament in Atlanta, Georgia, played the best team in Atlanta, and they won the game 69-52, and they're currently still ranked number 1 Quad A basketball team in the state of Pennsylvania.
Whoa.
So congratulations to the Dragons, and that's what's on my mind.
There you go.
Thanks, Smoking Jim, and I'm all for the Dice Sports. I found out their Twitter account and their high school's on Facebook, but nothing else is, so we constantly share different things there. So
that's great.
Yeah, it's nice to see young men. All 5 of the seniors were answering the questions and even trying to stump me, so they were pretty good. And they can handle any interview, I'll tell you that, and I wish them the best of luck. And like I said, they're welcome back onto the show after they win the whole state, which I predicted, like Smoking did 2 years ago. Actually, he did it and told us about it, but somehow you couldn't get him on a show because he never asked. So that's what happened. Thanks, Devin. I appreciate it. What's on my mind is I enjoyed watching the football games this past weekend. Championship, Sunday. And it was difficult. I talked a little bit about it last night, but I had to save some time because we had some great guests, and I'll talk about them in a few minutes. And what was unusual is I usually don't root against the team as much as I did for New England, and I won't go into detail about that. But, I'm a conspiracy guy, and I surely thought that at the end of the game that they were going to win it. So they didn't win it. I can move on. I can thank the Steelers for a great season. They're much better than we thought. We're always disappointed because we're so spoiled. 8-8, I'm led to believe that it's not great. Other cities would like a year or 2 or 3 or 4 of 8-8 Smoking Jim.
Oh, yeah.
Our resident NFL scout, our ex-NFL player, retired. So
Yes.
you guys know that. That's what's on my mind. I'm going to be optimistic. We got Penguins playing tonight. Hope they win a game after their cancellation with the Capitals the other day. All that snow and the blizzard. So there's something to look forward in hockey. They're playing the Devils tonight, and they're 2 points behind qualifying for the playoffs. And guess who's in front of them? The Devils. So when they win tonight, they can tie the Devils. And that's what's on my mind, part 2. I'm done with that. And guess what? Tessa, this is green too. If you can pull up on Olive Oil's Pizzeria, you can see I remember their phone number.
There you go.
Oh, excellent. You're very observant. This is one of our best rookie volunteers. She actually found out I was holding it upside down. Thank you.
Way to go.
And it's still
Yeah.
412-831-1900. Ask for Jake. He's really called Jay, but I just like Jake from Olive Oils because, there's a commercial out there, so why not publicize him?
Yeah.
Thanks. And they're, right nearby here within a mile, so take care of them, and they sponsor our show.
Well, Alan, I've got to ask you for a moment here to share a memory.
Okay.
Back in my Indianapolis days when I was a resident of Indianapolis, I actually met Bill Polian,
Wow.
who
Are you serious? That's great.
He worked in the for the Colts, of course, and
He's a
put
Hall of
together
Famer,
that
too.
great. He was just enshrined in the Hall of Fame, and I ran into Bill Polian the weekend before the draft. It just this just brings this time of the day or this time of the year, and if you remember Ryan Leaf, the
Yes.
quarterback.
Yes, we do.
And everybody was curious about who the Colts would draft.
Yes, sir.
And Polian was in Cracker Barrels having breakfast, and I ran into him, and he's got a deep history in the Canadian Football League, and we had some mutual friends. And I asked Bill Polian who he was going to draft, and he told me about Peyton Manning. And here we are at the end of Peyton's career, and it'll be interesting to see if he does retire and how he plays in the Super Bowl. And I want to wish him a very best of luck for a good Super Bowl game and to end up his career on a high note. So that's Peyton Manning, number 18.
I'm actually hopeful for you because I like those feel-good stories. But we'll talk about what the
I've
Super
never
Bowl.
been in Cracker Barrel.
Oh,
Once you do, you're not leaving.
that's right. That's right.
Thanks, John. I appreciate you putting that in there. Well, we don't have Chip for trivia time, but we got Smokin' Jim with Fiction and Fact from Smokin' Jim's Almanac.
Thanks, Al Levine, the talking machine. And I know you guys over the years know that I don't blow smoke, but a lot of other people think I blow smoke. So I'm going back to a fiction and fact from Smokin' Jim's Almanac that I shared with you guys a few times, and it's about Fast Willie Parker. Fast Willie Parker was a pretty strange character, workout warrior. But he used to work out in the middle of the night, 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, over the Steelers' Southside facilities. After the Steelers drafted Rashard Mendenhall Fast Willie Parker got mad, even though the Steelers loved him. They believed in you. You need 2 running backs at that particular time to get through a season. They love Willie's speed, and but Rashard Mendenhall was going to get the bulk of the carries, and so I went over and met Fast Willie Parker about 4 o'clock in the morning when he finished up his workout, and I pulled him to the side and I told him, I said, Fast Willie, the Pittsburgh Steelers love you. Says you can play 4 or 5 years here. He was at the end of his contract, but the Steelers had offered him $2.5 million a year, which was a slight pay cut from his $4 million a year that he had signed his previous contract. And but that was still good money. And but Fast Willie went ahead and signed with the Washington Redskins. The minute he did that, I said he would never make the team. He didn't even make it out of training camp. And just so happens that there's an article that confirmed everything. Willie Parker mentioned everything but talking to me in this particular article. He said pride got in the way and he wished he never, ever would have left Pittsburgh. And people
Well, that's got to be a great compliment to you. You should be an agent for these players.
That's it.
There you go.
You need me to help negotiate those contracts for you?
So it's too bad. He says he still misses football. He runs now in this post-football life. He's running a Fast Willie Parker training camp for kids to help them with their speed and whatnot. He said he tried to get into coaching, but coaching is just not for him. Probably didn't like the hours, but he still dreams about playing in the NFL. And unfortunately, like he says pride got in the way. He wished he'd have retired as a Steeler. And that's the fiction and fact from Smoking Jim's Almanac.
Thanks,
Thank
Smoking
you,
Jim.
Smoking
That was
Jim.
one of the best there.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Now, we're going to do a John Smith segment, and this is going to be your anti-bullying thing.
Perfect.
So you can take as long as you want on this to get out what you want.
Okay, great.
So
Thank
you can
you,
have
Alan.
a good
Yes.
5 minutes or so. Okay?
All of us are challenged about bullying in schools, and I'm sure those of you that have children have lots of stories that your children have talked with you about. I had a chance to meet a fellow by the name of Peter Yarrow from Peter, Paul, and Mary, and he started a company called Operation Respect. And Operation Respect is designed to influence, to address the issue of bullying in schools. And we know that about 95% of students in schools are what we call bystanders. When they go in the cafeteria and they see a bully trying to pick on another student, they are bystanders. They stand aside from the incident and don't really respond on it and tell the teachers and tell the principal. And so the other segment of students, about 5% are upstanders. And these are students that have the courage to stand up to the bullies.
To do something.
Yeah, and to tell the principal or tell the teacher or tell a friend, tell their parents about the bullying that's going on in the schools. And so this is a big issue right now.
Oh, without a doubt.
Yes.
That's why we want to bring it out, since you're involved in it daily.
Absolutely. And
How do they get a hold of you? Because that's good background, because that describes who's involved, who's not, who's getting bullied.
Sure. Well, the best thing I can suggest is to go to www.respectfullyyours.info, and that has all of the contact information. It has statistics about bullying. It has some video about bullying that I think you'll find interesting, and also it's an opportunity for me to come out to your school and talk with your students and your faculty and staff about an anti-bully presentation where we can talk with the students.
Sure.
I can meet with the teachers. The teachers become a very critical point in schools as far as bullying goes. So again, that address, www.respectfullyyours.info. And I would be glad to talk with you about the bully program. I go all over Western Pennsylvania. I've been as far east to Philadelphia and Baltimore.
You can't go much further than that in
No, that's
Pennsylvania.
about it. That's about it.
Just so you
So,
know.
yeah.
Sorry to add some humor to
Yeah.
it, but
No, that's fine. Also, I wanted to tell you in this segment about schools, just recently I was contacted by an organization called the National Child Identification Program. And this program is designed,
well, he has
it-
14 godchildren.
well, there you go. Yeah. There are thousands of kids that are being abducted nowadays in our world. And this program, the National Child Identification Program, has really helped to recover 30,000 kids. And that deserves a compliment. And I'm going to also be talking with schools about the National Child Identification Program. It's actually a little envelope, an identification kit that has a DNA swab that parents can fingerprint their children and track their data. And in the unlikely event, and it's becoming more likely in every day that we go past, but in the unlikely event that the data and the fingerprints are necessary, families will have them on site. And I'm really excited about this program. It really will make a difference for kids.
Do you think it's time to put a chip in? Do you guys think it's time?
I'm against chips, just so you know, because I'm a conspiracy guy. We have enough issues with things and how they watch you, because you, of all people, don't go under aliases and everything you do. So if they put a chip in you, they'd have to put two in, but then they would know who you are. So, no, I'm anti-chip. Put it in your pets, no problem. Put it in cattle and other animals that are out in the field, because people are stealing these animals, so you
sure.
could track them there. But you do have to be much safer with the children. The question I have for you, John, is how long is a presentation? Is it a half hour, or it depends on what they want you to bring out?
Well, I will accommodate them as far as time, but typically it's about 45 minutes to an hour. And,
Okay, I just wanted a number for any
yeah.
teachers that watch, and
Sure.
principals and lawyers and judges watch our show.
Absolutely.
So
And,
just so they know that as a ballpark
Yeah,
figure.
this program at one point was under the auspices of the FBI.
Okay.
And now it's being done with this kit, and parents can actually take ownership of the identification kit, fingerprint their children, and create a safer world for all of us.
Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah.
I'm hopeful for it. And sorry with the little snickering, because I was watching where the camera where Tessa's at, where Devin was.
Oh, yeah.
Now it's over to there, and now I have to look at the center camera. So I have three choices. John and Jim, they weren't just giving you a crazy eye look here, because they were being guided to go follow the green.
So,
And that's where Tessa is. And then Devin mixed it up.
Tessa, you're the target now, right?
Yes.
Okay, great.
All right, now that we got that straight, now I know I should be looking there because it's all of us, and then I'm going to have to look left because now it's just me talking. So I'll get to my segment.
Okay.
Thank you, John, for your time and the good stuff that you're doing out there. We appreciate that.
You bet. You bet.
Now mine is about On Location. Oh, where were we smoking, Jim? Oh, Atria's PNC Park. We had a great time. Roger Houston, and that's why I'm glad John's here, showed up for the second appearance on Pittsburgh Sportsline. And that's after finishing the races at 5:35. He made it before I got there, which I usually get there about 6:30. He was already early, and he reminded me and Smoking Jim again on air that he was actually early before all of us, and he knew he could beat Smoking Jim Frazier. As John knows that too, because not only is he always fashionably late, he means it. So that's part of it. We had a great time last night.
Tell me about Roger Houston. I've heard
wanna
his
know?
name. Yeah.
well,
I know he's at
Here's
the
what the
Meadows.
start of the show. If you saw, I took a group photo, had them take a group photo with all of us there.
Yes.
And I knew better to block Roger from hugging Nirvana Crystal, who's a model, businesswoman, etc.
Yes.
And Smoking Jim was able to be right next to her. Come on, we have Chip. Come on in. All you do is sit down.
Hey, Chip.
He made it from New
Welcome.
Stanton, folks. We didn't know if he could do it. You just join us, and I'll finish my story about On Location with Roger Houston. And they'll guide you on the cameras, because now, where will Chip look at? Can you give me a signal with the one where I'm at? No, he'll look over there. Okay, excellent. So Roger is a very personable guy. And
Yes.
he's a bit of a
Yes.
character, and he'll admit to that. So we had a great time. He was telling stories from when he was 9 years old. His uncle was a track announcer, racing track announcer
Yes.
in Ohio, and you're from Ohio.
I
So
am,
you know
yes.
about all the fairs and all the racetracks that are out there.
Of course.
So he started announcing at 9 years old. And he also started driving a car at 14 or 15 because he has this phobia, which he finally said, another Pittsburgh sports line first. He has a phobia about being on time, that he must come early. Him and his uncle went to the races, and they ended up almost being late. When you sing the national anthem,
Yes.
then you start announcing the races right after it.
Sure.
His uncle had to run to the booth, so Roger, he goes, "Can you drive a car?" At 14, 15 years old, he goes, "Yeah, I could drive a car." He had to go park the car for his uncle, and then that was part of his career starting. And he told us, one tip, because I always ask people about tips in their business. I said, should they go to broadcasting school? And he said in the Roger Houston voice, "No, don't go to that school. I'll tell you a story." Then he had a story about he went to a track. I forget the name of the track because he mentioned about a half a dozen.
Yes.
I was trying to keep track of them all. He might have mentioned 10. But he went to this one track where he knows the gentleman, and he said to him, "Should I have gone to broadcasting school?" He goes, "Never, because how we want to train you is going to be a little different
Yes.
than how they're trained in broadcasting school." So for all of you that want to be broadcasters, including John, who's already broadcast, Smoking Jim has, I've done a little bit. I'm so untrained, it's unbelievable, but that's neither here nor there. But that was one of the Roger stories.
He has a magical voice. And,
Yes, he does.
He's quite a caller.
Well, he also told us, I don't know if you know his trademark is "be there."
Yes.
He says "be there." Well, that come about a long time ago in the 70s, 76. He had to do a commercial for KDKA, and they were 8 seconds short on TV.
Yes.
He goes, "Don't worry about it, I'll get it there." And he goes, "Be there." Sorry, Roger, I can't do it as well. But that was it. We had other great guests from 5 Star Skill Camp, Amir and Steven. They're just great with the kids in the community. We also had Nirvana Crystal, who Smoking Jim didn't bring the calendar that she actually made the cover of the calendar, and she's missed December in it. She's also a businesswoman, does a magazine and other things in the area. Plus, you know, she tries very hard, not just at the modeling, but everything she does. So another great guest there.
Yes, sir.
And Smoking Jim is her biggest fan right now. Until all of you know, the next Sweetie for Jimmy will be on next week. And that's On Location. Come out to Hollywood Lanes in Dormont next Monday, 7:30 to 8:30. Jeffrey Park and Lindsay Marie run a heck of an operation. You can bowl there. You can watch our show. You can eat. They put up fancy tablecloths in red with, like, you know, theater seating and club seating there. So you can see our show. It's in bright lights. So check us out at Hollywood Lanes next Monday. February 1st it is. I can't believe this month is gone. So
Amazing.
that's On Location. And now we got Chip Hayner. He's here let me think what we can do. We have time. You can do an abbreviated what's on your mind.
Okay, what's on my mind is for my good friend.
And you got to talk into the mic here.
It's for my good friend Jim Frazier.
Okay.
Sean, I wanted to say it's a pleasure to see you again.
It's great to see you, Chip, yes.
But
You got
one
to
thing that was proven beyond
Look over here
any
at Tessa.
reasonable doubt
Okay.
this past weekend with the playoff games is that my dear friend Jim was just a slight bit off key when he said that there's a genius that resides in Phoenix, because the Arizona Cardinals head coach certainly isn't a genius if he thinks he's going to win a championship with Carson Palmer. That's what's on my mind.
Well, do you know he lost 4 houses this past weekend? 4. He was doubling up.
But I don't know if you've got time for the trivia.
Yeah, we do have time.
Okay, I've got some quick trivia, Super Bowl trivia, being that we're leading up to the Super Bowl. And what I did was I did a little research, and I saw the top 10 Super Bowl winning teams of all time. I saw a list that was posted by Fox Sports, and I'll start from 10 and work our way up to 1.
Let's do it.
Okay,
Yes.
number 10 was Super Bowl 42, the New England Patriots was number 10. Number 9 was my dear friend John's Super Bowl 11 winning Oakland
The
Raiders.
Oakland Raiders.
And the
There
Snake
you go.
won his world championship. And if it wasn't for the Pittsburgh Steelers, he would have won more than one in that decade.
You're right.
So, okay, number 8 on the list, Super Bowl 1 in the Green Bay Packers. Number 7, Super Bowl 13, the Pittsburgh Steelers.
There you go.
And that's the only mention they have in the top 10, believe it or not.
That I can't.
Whoa.
Who's on that committee?
No, I don't know. Somebody from the West Coast, I think, when you listen to the rest of these. Number 6, Super Bowl 29, I guess that is, the 49ers. And that was the year after Bill Walsh retired, George Seifert's team.
I remember
Yes.
that.
Okay.
Yes.
Then followed by number 5, Super Bowl 27, the Dallas Cowboys. Number 4, once again, the 49ers with the Super Bowl, 19 win? Yep. Number 3 shocked me completely, because this one would have been number 1 for me, was the 1972 Miami Dolphins in Super Bowl 7. The only undefeated champion of the bunch. How they're not number 1? I don't know what criteria they used, but
Let's see that committee.
No
Yeah.
loss is the best in my book. Number
Can
2.
you get better than that?
Well, so once again, it's the San Francisco 49ers in Super Bowl 24. How they ended up with 3 of the top 10. And number 1, the number 1 Super Bowl winning team of all time was the 1985 Chicago Bears.
There you go.
15.
The fridge.
Yeah, they went through the regular system, 15-1. Marino was the only one that beat them on a Monday night, and Mike Singletary and that Chicago defense was just unstoppable that
Oh,
year.
yeah.
Great trivia. Thanks there, Chip. Especially for
Perfect.
Super Bowl, since we have a couple weeks to digest all that and research even more.
Oh,
So.
yeah, don't worry. We'll get some obscure trivia for next week.
Whoa, obscure. Look that up in your Funkin' Waggles. Or wait, I have my dictionary.
Sorry about the genius, Jim. But
Well, he'll look that up. Look that up. Never mind. You're not going to read now. You're not starting.
no.
All right, well, let's close this season out on the Steelers. We tried to last week, and, we're hoping they heal up. So, I don't know. We'll defer to our guest here since he's not with us all the time. Your thoughts on the Steelers season?
Oh, I guess I have,
This is just your opinion.
yeah, just
No-
my
no-
opinion. I think that they can play better defense. I think that I continue to believe that you win championships with defense.
Right.
And hopefully they'll be able to master the art of tackling and, wrapping the arms.
Hold
and
it.
the
Wait.
fundamentals.
Didn't you learn that you hit somebody with a shoulder, then you celebrate?
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
I don't know if
That's the way
gonna
they do
change.
it
Ball loose
nowadays.
first.
Well,
Yeah.
And then
even if you
celebrate before you
you could
recover.
do that too. We had some of those plays that you can knock the ball loose and then celebrate. But you
Right.
do. We were taught to play to the whistle, so that's one of the things that they should do. But no,
Yeah.
you're right on that. So.
I think that there needs to be an emphasis on fundamentals, on defense. And then I do believe that Ben Roethlisberger has been overlooked. I know there's some great NFL quarterbacks out there. We're going to see a couple of them in the Super Bowl. this Cam Newton, he is incredible. But I'll tell you what.
Hold on, we'll get to that. I just wanted the Steelers because I want to go to the Scout
okay.
next.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll have a discussion a little bit later,
All right.
but we're going to try to cover some of that with the NFL.
Okay.
Now, this is our Steelers Scout, our NFL Scout, and a scout of everything else out there. Go ahead, Smokey.
Thanks, Al Levine, the Talk Machine. Steelers had an excellent season. I said before the season, with the tough schedule, if they went 8-8, Coach Tomlin should be up for head coach of the year. Pittsburgh Steelers won 11-5 with all the injuries. They played a very tough schedule, and they were very, very competitive. The loss against Denver probably wouldn't have happened if they had Antonio Brown. Next year they get healthy. I think if they re-sign Calvin Beachum and make him a left guard, play him next to Villanueva, that offensive line could look really good. You get Le'Veon Bell back. Everybody's saying that you devalue the running game, but Le'Veon Bell is just as great a pass receiver as he is a running back. You get him back, you get a healthy Big Ben back, and you make the necessary improvements, like Coach Smith said, in the defensive side of the ball. And I think the Pittsburgh Steelers should be odds-on favorite of getting to next year's Super Bowl.
Smoking
Yeah,
Jim,
yeah.
I've never heard you that optimistic.
There you go.
You know what? 2016 is a great year. Now, my thing, I hate to echo all this kumbaya stuff and how good the Steelers are, because I'm usually optimistic. But 8-8, that's what I predicted. They did much better than that. And the scary part is they could have been in the Super Bowl. If we had one guy healthy out of the running backs or wide receiver, AB or
Yep.
even Williams, we might have made it. So despite all the flaws they have and all the criticism we've all had towards them in the defense, they could have made it. So that impressed me. Parity is alive and well in the NFL. I'm for that. So let's go Steelers in 2016. Chip, you're closing.
Just in closing, I think, what the Steelers need, they saw an improvement on the defense this year with the number of sacks they got and the number of turnovers they got, which was a big problem in the previous year. The secondary, it has been exposed when there is not a pass rush. Now, I know we're going to talk about the football games
Yes,
this weekend,
yes.
but the Broncos showed you the blueprint on how to win in the NFL.
Oh, yeah.
Hit the quarterback. And I think what the Steelers ought to try to do, I know we're got a lot of young linebacking depth. I think they ought to dip into the free agent market. And they ought to go after somebody like Von Miller this year and get a monster pass rusher. And I think that right there tips the scales in their favor and makes them the odds-on favorite. But
I like your optimism.
Agreed.
Nice.
Yeah, Chip, that's a good
that's
good
thinking
idea.
outside
Yeah.
the box, because that's something that the Steelers have historically not done.
One problem is they got to solve some of the cap issues before they do that.
Yeah.
They're knocking right at the cap. I had to do that, Devin, because I constantly bother them with the mics. So,
Well, they're going to say there's plenty of places for them to save on the cap space. Well, one of
No,
the
I know.
One of the cuts is when they're not going to bring Squisham back because Boswell, he did an excellent job this year.
Sure.
I think he did everything you need a kicker to do.
he did. No doubt.
What do you think about Landry Jones and Michael
Gone.
Vick? And what's going to happen with the quarterback
I have good
situation?
news. I have good news.
Okay.
The Steelers aren't going to re-sign Mike Vick.
There you go.
I always enjoy sarcasm.
No, I saw that posted on the internet today.
I know, and-
Oh, did they say that? Oh,
I know,
my.
but do you
Okay.
believe everything you read on the internet?
Yeah.
But
No,
I think
unless it's on Pittsburgh Sportsline.
I think
There you go.
Tomlin really likes Gradkowski as the backup, and I think Gradkowski is a much better, serviceable backup if you need him
You bet.
than Landry Jones was.
If
So-
he can stay healthy. I'm a friend of his. I saw him growing up. Shout out to him and his family for all that. He has to stay healthy. He is actually a madman in the gym. He's a beast. He works out like you can't believe. He's in the greatest shape. The problem is these injuries happen. He's not the biggest guy. If he were like his dad, 300-plus pounds, 6'3", grew
Sure.
up with him.
his brother, the offensive
His
lineman?
brother and his uncle Mark was a big tight end at Keystone Oaks and in college. He played up there with Tunch Ilkin, so in Indiana
That
there.
state, yeah.
At the Seminoles, or no, what was it? It's named after a tree. No.
Indiana?
College. In
Indiana
college.
State?
No. The one where Larry Bird went at?
Yeah,
Indiana
Oh,
State.
Terre
Indiana
Haute.
State.
Indiana State.
Yeah.
No, they're not called Chippewas.
They're not?
No.
There's something.
Yeah. Yeah. Sycamores. They're the
Sycamores,
fighting
you're right.
sycamores.
Sycamores.
You guys are
We're not
throwing
getting
it out.
Chippewas.
I have to
We're not
think
getting
things. I got to register something here.
Yeah,
But
Reggie Allen was the quarterback on that team.
see, he knows
From
everything,
Manassas.
folks, but it's hard to pull it out of him. We look there, then you guys look at Tessa, then I'm going to go back to Devin. This is discombobulating, like I
I'll give you
said.
Chippewas.
But now, we did watch the playoffs, and there's a key. All defenses know it. You hit the quarterback. And if you don't get to him, you hit him after the play a little bit, legally. So I'm talking about the legal hits. Some of those other ones don't injure a player, but it happens because then they get that. Not only do the receivers get alligator arms, but the quarterback,
Starts bouncing the ball to the wide
here, the
receiver.
ball starts moving.
That's,
And
that's
when
true.
that's been the book on Brady ever since he's been in his rookie year. You hit Brady and you reduce his effectiveness, and the Broncos exposed him for what he was on Sunday. And there wasn't a lot of dirty plays. There wasn't a lot of personal fouls or.
It's funny
How many sacks did they have, the Broncos?
I
Like
think
23?
I think they hit him 23 times.
23 times.
23,
Yeah.
Which
got
happened,
banged up,
to
yeah.
get the offensive line coach fired this morning.
That's right.
Yes, it
That's
did.
right.
And that happens. Smoke and Jim, your thoughts on these games and whether you hit the quarterback or
We're talking Super Bowl, just championship games.
just the championship games
Yeah,
right now?
I predicted that Denver would beat New England. I think I was one of the only ones in the country. Everybody had New England winning. I felt comfortable that Denver would win, and they did. And I thought that the Genius would pull it out, Arizona. But I tell you what, after watching Carolina very, very closely, I think it's the best team I've seen since the '85 Bears.
Yeah.
And they deserve
On both sides of the ball?
Pretty good.
They deserve.
Yeah, they are.
They deserve to
And
win.
the only
Yeah.
really the only receiving threat he's got is Greg Olson. I mean, he's got a bunch of no-name wide
Oh, he
receivers.
got a couple brothers out there.
You know, but I mean, you never heard
they
of
brittle?
them. I mean, they're not in the top 10 of anything. But
No,
they
you're right.
they
you're right.
you
Well, their
know,
best receiver is on injured reserve. He got hurt before the season even started. So
you know, but,
next year they'll
but
be
Cam
strong.
Newton is just
Cam Newton is a
he-
playmaker.
He,
I mean,
he just is.
yeah,
He's unbelievable this year,
Yeah.
and you know he's hands down the league MVP. And I don't see anybody stopping Carolina in the Super Bowl this week.
Get your prediction. Get your prediction on tape.
All right,
I think it's
why
gonna
wait
be a
any
big win
longer?
for Peyton Manning.
Why wait? NFL
Yeah.
predictions. We're going to start with our guest since we're always respectful of people to come on our
Give
show.
a score. Give a score.
Yeah. Yeah.
Go ahead, John. Let
All
it
right,
rip.
I'm gonna forecast, and I'm gonna predict that in an upset, that the Denver Broncos are going to win this thing, and I think Cam Newton is going to have to stand in front of that pass rush, and the Broncos are going to play great defense. The Broncos play good special teams. In my coaching background, I can still remember the great Hal Hunter from Cal State.
Yes, sir.
And he said, special teams will get you beat. Special teams will get you beat.
That's Mike
And
Tomlin.
so the team that emphasizes special teams will
Win the game.
win the game. And
No question.
I
Any
think the
score? Do
Broncos-
you have what's the score?
I'm going to say that in Peyton Manning's swan song here, he's going to that Bronco offense is going to come up with about 28 points, and I think that Carolina, I'm going to say 28-18.
Wow.
28-18. I'm going to rely on that Bronco defense to
All right,
make something
retired
happen.
QB.
There you
I
go.
can see where you're going.
Yeah, yeah.
Very good. Thank you for your prediction
Okay.
and insights. We appreciate it.
Smoking
Thank you.
Jim, where's that heavy money?
Come on, Smoking Jim.
Hey,
He's dapping.
Hey, listen.
Or doing the dap.
I placed my. I got 4.5 on. I placed
Excuse
a
me?
bet today.
We
Listen,
do not condone
we
gambling.
don't condone.
He's
I
a
called
known
Vegas. I
gambling.
called Las
It's
Vegas.
for entertainment purposes.
Our
only.
purposes are entertainment. He's a known gambler.
But
okay?
I look at it this way: Cam Newton won the junior college national championship. He won the college national championship at Auburn, and I really believe that this is his year to win the Super Bowl. My prediction on the score is somewhere in the neighborhood of Carolina 50, Denver 10. And that's
Whoa.
my prediction.
Okay.
Okay.
50-10.
50
Alan, go. Let's hear what you've got to say.
Well, I'd rather have good luck than just a good player. When you combine both, 42-13, Carolina Panthers.
Carolina.
42-13.
Oh,
He
we
ends
said you-
up, here's my little explanation. Cam can run. And if you give him just a little arm tackle, you're in trouble. He's 250 pounds. He's
a
like a Big
specimen.
Ben that can do a 4.340.
That's true.
Not an
off
8.6.
Off of Jim's watch.
Well, they're all, that's why I brought the
The one that stopped at
4.3.
4.3.
always said you knew more about black people than anybody else. So.
Thank you, Smoking Jim. How about I just know about people? And I knew that you would say that, and I didn't want to start the year out trying to be too critical of you for just singling me out on that.
No,
But that's my prediction because this is his year. And you haven't really seen him open up running because he hasn't always had to do it. Now, when these defenses, well, the defense comes after him because they are the number one defense in the NFL.
Yes, they are.
And usually, because I like a good defense in the playoffs in almost any sport, it's not going to work this time because you have an exceptional stud that's out there. And he's so determined. He's leading guys, which true leaders do, that don't have all the talent in the world. And you can talk about his line, lack of great receivers. He uplifts those guys. If you see what he does on the sidelines, because I watch it when they're panning over, not just to see the dap and all that nonsense, he's constantly encouraging his teammates. That's a true leader, and you know from being a leader yourself.
Yes.
Well, how do you like all that dancing in the group picture with 3 minutes to go?
Here's
in
what
the
I
game?
like, straitjackets. If you could give everybody a straitjacket and then they would do that, I would love to see the dance, but put a straitjacket on them. That's what I would do. Thanks, Devin. He's now made me crazy when I talk not to you guys. Whoa. I got to look there. Now when it's a joint photo, what do you think? Chip, let's go ahead. Give us your prediction.
Okay, and I think John made a very bold prediction. And, it would be the sentimental favorite to see Peyton Manning win a Super Bowl on his last
Over the right now.
and his swan song. But, I look at the two teams that Carolina has beaten the last 2 weeks, and they've probably beaten two of the top 4 defenses in the NFL. And I think the top 4 defenses would include Denver and Carolina as well. And I think that Peyton doesn't have the juice in his arm to match Carolina score for score. They hung 31 points on Seattle in a half. And they dropped 45 on on a pretty good Arizona defense last week.
Sure.
And
The genius.
and Luke Kuechly and the rest of that band they got on defense. I don't see Denver being able to match them score for score. So I'm looking at about a 38-10 Carolina.
Whoa.
Whoa.
No, and
I'm rubbing off on you guys.
Well,
No, it's just the facts, and I can see that.
And
We got to focus on that camera right there while we're all talking.
That's just my humble opinion, but you know what? I
don't know anything.
More than anything, I want to see a game that'll keep me watching well into the fourth quarter. I don't want to see it over at halftime.
We got to teach you guys to wobble so you can dance with Cam and them during the game.
Let me tell you, that's not happening. We had a guest one time that had a straitjacket on our show. If I could find his number again, I'll give him a call because he's been missing in action since then. Remember he come to Sips?
That's right.
Out of
He got
nowhere.
out of there. He
Out
got
of
out of
nowhere.
the straight jacket. You remember
Jim,
that?
ever since I quit drinking, I don't wobble anymore.
There we got the personal insights. Now, we have about 12 minutes left, and we have to skedaddle out of here so Bethel Park Council can have their live meeting right after us. So first, I want to thank everybody because I'm not going to have a long close to this because we'll probably get into some more discussion. But I want to thank everybody for watching us if you are early. If not, this will be up later on in the week, as early as Thursday again, and you'll get to hear this and see us in this new location. And if I don't say Stay Joey Strong, I'm saying it now because Stay Joey Strong, he passed away a year ago on the 23rd of January at 8 years old. So we're trying to beat this dreaded disease, DIPG. It's a brain cancer, and we all have a lot of fun. But it's just heartbreaking to know a family that has gone through this with not just one child, but two children. And they're showing me, like I have a lot of personal heroes. They're not always in the sports world. But when you find a family that started to stay Joey strong, and I'm involved with them in fundraising and try to go to their events and publicize the donations so they can find a cure for this childhood brain cancer called DIPG. So at least keep that in your hearts. We have a lot of fun to, go over, and thanks to Bethel Park for letting us do this each week. We appreciate that. Thanks to Dave Cable. Thanks to Devin. Tessa, we appreciate it. And I heard her mother got so excited about 412-831-1900. She said, my poor daughter didn't have dinner. She's now going to have dinner from Olive Oil's Pizzeria.
There you
so,
go.
Thank your mom. Does she have a name? Cindy.
Cindy.
Thank you for ordering that. We appreciate it, and they'll be glad that we publicize that. That's right at Hillcrest Shopping Center. We can almost walk, not smoking Jim. He'll have to drive. we'll do that. He didn't get onto that New Year's resolution.
Are you sure he isn't going to ride over on his hoverboard?
Well, I saw it had a flat tire. His hoverboard had a flat, so he will not be doing
But
that.
at least it didn't catch fire.
I'll kick this last 9 minutes or so that we'll just have an open discussion about sports if you want to, and it's beyond what's on your mind. We discussed that already, so.
Well, we got the NHL All-Star game coming up this weekend, which is another one of these All-Star events along with the Pro Bowl that nobody's going to watch. And Sidney Crosby is going to be absent from the NHL All-Star game this week, which he's been the face of the NHL for the last 10
They've been
years.
listening to our show and what you said.
I don't know about that.
I know they have.
But, you got the Penguins wrapping up their last game tonight at home against the New Jersey Devils. Ray Shero is coming back to pay homage to his previous team. And John Hines, who was the coach at the Baby Penguins over in Wilkes-Barre, Scranton, is now head coach of the New Jersey Devils. So, they're going to finish up. If the Penguins beat the Devils tonight, they will tie them for 8th place. They win the final.
I already
playoff
mentioned
spot.
that, not to steal your thunder, but I said they had 55, we had 53. We would tie them for that.
But, we'll see what happens.
I'm hopeful.
You
And
know,
they've started to win a little bit.
And they don't instill a lot of confidence in me yet. I want to see them start stacking some wins.
I'm a little early. I'm more confident than I was 6 weeks ago.
Well, 6 weeks ago, I had no hope. Now I have some. So
Okay, then
I
you're
guess
more
that's
confident.
an improvement.
Do you want to discuss Yarmir Yager still playing hockey?
You know what?
Sorry,
favorite
that's
player.
his easy one.
No, you know what, Jim? I wanted to talk to you. Your Alderdice team. I had the rankings for the states. Quad A, Alderdice is still the number 1 ranked basketball team in the state. They went to Atlanta, Georgia this past Saturday and beat another team and beat them pretty
He
handily.
brought it up. Rarely does he cover
Yes.
Okay.
teams like that.
That was early
So-
news, but good.
Yeah.
No, I was paying attention to that this weekend. I was like, they're going all over the country and beating some tail, huh?
I'm rubbing off for it.
I'm telling you, man. You know
Smoking
me.
Jim, this has been a great new year. We've never had a 2016 like this. Oh, it's the
How about a
first time
city-
we've had
How
it.
about a City League state basketball champion this year?
I would love to see that.
We're already predicting it. Good karma from Pittsburgh Sports Line. There's no
And you
doubt
got all
about
the
it.
dice colors on.
That's why I wore it. Go Dice. Dice.
go.
No, Dice Sports. Dice
Dice
Sports.
Sports.
Okay, thank you. And I even friended their principal. Leslie's their principal.
Oh, yeah?
A woman principal. I'm
Really?
friends with her now.
Wow.
And you didn't steal that off me, which now
Not
he will.
yet.
She knows you have a program called Sweeties for Jimmy. So everybody's starting to find out about
So one
you.
last thing. Last weekend, I went over the 15 finalists that will be elected next Saturday for the Hall of Fame.
How's it
and
look?
we're pulling for Kenny Stabler.
There you go.
Getting
Thank
into the
you, Chip.
Hall. That is on the senior ticket. I think he's well deserving of it. I know my friend John couldn't agree with me more.
You betcha.
He played Ken in practice every day, so he didn't
'Cause
wear
he's
his
a lefty.
Because
He
he
took a
didn't wear
beating.
his arm out in the middle during practice.
Yeah.
Devin,
Otis
you made
Sistrunk
me
was my friend.
insane tonight. We got to look, Chip. When you're talking by yourself there,
Okay.
Jim,
Okay.
John,
All
look
right.
over there. Then when we're all like
wait
sort
for
of intermingling here, because we got 4 minutes and 24 seconds, we can look straight ahead. And now if I want to go on a little tirade, then I just look over here. So folks, hopefully the cameras are keeping up with us. We got Zach Anderson in the control room. He's one of the best interns we've ever had here.
Zach who?
He's been on a hiatus. Z-Dog is
He
his name.
steered me in the right direction when I came in, and I heard your voice, and I was like,
Oh,
wait a minute.
no.
Yeah.
That's...
I was like, wait, I'm hearing Al.
Did he leave?
I'm hearing
Did he
Al.
leave?
He's coming from
No,
the
we look
ceilings.
there. See,
He's
Devin's like,
coming from
look,
the ceilings.
look there. Now, where were we? What about Kevin Green? What do you think, Smoking Jim?
How
Kevin
does,
Green?
how does a linebacker with 150 sacks in his career not end up
160.
He checked it out.
not end up in the Hall of Fame? I'd like that question answered. Is it because he played on 4 or 5 different teams? It doesn't matter. He was
It
excellent
was his
everywhere he
hair was
played.
too long. They were jealous of the hair. I mean, that's how stupid it is. He should be in the Hall of Fame. I know if I had a vote, I'd vote twice. He should be in there.
I agree.
There you
Definitely.
go.
There's certain guys
He's a
they
good
shouldn't
player.
pass up. Just like Donnie Shell. Smoking Jim brought that up before.
Yep.
Donnie Shell. Look what he did, for 14 years.
Donnie Shell's a product of the success of the rest of that team. There were so many Hall of Famers from the 70 Steelers that they just figured, you know what, there was enough of them in the Hall of Fame, they weren't going to put any more in.
There is not enough Steelers in there because they did it the old-fashioned way. They took steroids and worked very hard. And all the other teams are doing it. We had Jimmy O'Brien tell us that,
Yeah,
as I have
yeah.
to go over there because I'm by myself.
Hey, what are your feelings about the movie Concussion?
I was in
Have
it.
You were in it.
I had
That's
5
right, Alan,
seconds
yes.
of fame.
Okay.
John, I still haven't seen it yet, but I think some of the repercussions of the movie Concussion, like you look at what happened with Antonio Brown against the Bengals, and then he doesn't play in the Steelers' biggest game
That's
of the
right.
season the following week. And I think prior to that movie being released and the awareness that's been made by bringing this to everybody's attention, he would have played.
that's
And,
right.
Yep.
5
That's
years
true.
ago,
Hines
there wouldn't have been a
Ward wouldn't have been
question.
able to play like he did being concussed.
Yeah.
He wouldn't have been able to call out Big Ben
Good
for
point.
being concussed or going through any of that.
But I think,
so that has changed the sport.
Yes.
I think you're seeing a different attitude with these young athletes. They're realizing that, I maybe want to be able to walk, talk, and chew gum when I get into
I don't
my
think
50s.
they care about that. I don't think the date it's in
Until it
the doctor's
happens.
hand. It's out of their hands. There's no way Antonio Brown wasn't going to play, but it wasn't in his hands or the coach's hands. So I don't
It was
think
the
those-
blue coats.
Yeah, I don't think those guys. You know what? I heard
Protocol,
a great
yeah.
interview. Maybe I'll save it for next week. With Mike Singletary, he said the reason he's not having any problems and the reason other people are having problems, I'll let you know next week. Mike Singletary, one of the greatest linebackers of all times, having no problems, and there's a reason.
Yeah.
And he explained it.
Yeah.
Really?
McMahon's having problems. And how about the great running back for the Pittsburgh Panthers for
Yeah,
the Cowboys?
Tony Dorsett.
Dorsett, he's had some.
Yeah.
I like to
concussion.
hook him up to a lie detector test for I believe that.
Uh-huh.
Well, I got from reliable
I
sources.
love TD, but come on.
Oh, the Kamikaze Kid. Who's more reliable than the
Yeah.
Kamikaze Kid? That was his roommate. He told me last year that he's worried about Tony Dorsett.
But the only thing is, and I do agree that brain injuries are something that need to be further researched. You got to protect the players from themselves. But I don't know really how much of the effects that some of these people are having after and then later in their life. Is it genetics or is it
a
actually the
finger in the
result
eye.
of the repeated blows? I don't know. I know the attorneys are going to make as much as they can off of that.
Sure.
But
Well,
there's a lot of questions that need
We
answered.
could go on and on about this. My thing, not the final say on it. But if you ever remember somebody saying after they were in a sport that they were a little punchy or they're punch drunk, think about that. And now we're going to have to close this out because we got to run out of here, folks. You're going to watch the council meeting next. I'm Al Levine, the Talking Machine, Smoking Jim Frazier, John Smith, Chip the Prophet Hayner. Stay Joey strong, whatever camera I look at.
There you
We're
go.
done.